The life that I have right now looks completely different from where I started. Today, I'm going to be sharing the most impactful things that I did to change my entire life so that you can use them to change yours. Hi, I'm Scarlett Cochran. Today we're going to be talking about how to change your entire life. And I'm really not exaggerating when I say this. The things that you're going to be learning in today's video are the exact same things that I did to go from being a single teen mom, living under the poverty line with just a high school diploma to my name and no financial or parental or community support to speak of, to becoming a Yale Law educated banking and finance attorney, to becoming an entrepreneur. I mean, suffice it to say, my life looks nothing like what it did 20 years ago when I had my daughter Alexis. And at the time, I couldn't have imagined the life that I have right now. I'm really excited to share these lessons with you because not only have I used them along the way to create the life that I have right now, but I'm still using them as I continue to create the life that I want purposefully going forward. So the first really, let's call these principles. The first principle that I want to share is that you need to have a vision for your life that's bigger than the life that you have right now and the life that you're currently on track to live. When I became a single teen mom, I was just under 2 years out of high school. So I had a high school diploma. I was an active duty Marine, so I was working full time. I was stationed in Virginia, so far away from my family in New York City. And suddenly I had this baby that I was supporting. And I was so young at that point, I hadn't even really developed a vision of what I wanted for my future. In fact, no one had ever really taught me to imagine for a future, right? Imagine what life would be like when I was older. Sure, I understood the question of, what do you want to be when you grow up? But I had never thought to imagine, like really concretely, what a good life looked like for me. I basically just knew, well, this is life and you just kind of do the next thing that you need to do to survive. But becoming a mom changed all of that for me. I went from just thinking about, well, what am I going to do tonight to, oh my gosh, this baby is coming. How am I going to provide for this baby, like in the short term, like when the baby is born? But also, how am I going to provide a good life for this child? And it's because I had Alexis that I really started to ask myself these essential questions that really set me on the path that led me to where I am today. It set me on a path of imagining a future that was bigger than what I was living. Because at the time I was making, less than $20,000 a year. So that's technically living under the poverty line for a family of two. And, our lifestyle it wasn't great. And I wanted more. I wanted more for my daughter. I wanted her to be able to just have wonderful experiences. I wanted to provide her with a good life. And so I just started to imagine, well, what does that good life look like? What are some of the things that I want to be able to provide for her? And I knew that at the very least, I wanted her to have a house with a yard. I wanted to be able to pay for college for her. I wanted to be able to maybe buy her a car, go to Disney, all of the things that I myself enjoyed and wanted as a child. I wanted her to have all of that and more. And the big lesson there is that you don't have to have that big, bold future really well defined in order for this principle to work. All that I needed was just that initial vision that life could be different, that I wanted something different, and that commitment to just imagining what was possible for me. So not shutting down what I felt I was capable of or where I felt my life could go based on my limited experiences in the world. I just stayed open to the possibility that this amazing life that I was craving was out there somewhere, and I just needed to figure out how to get it. And I'll tell you, it wasn't easy to hold that belief and that vision because everyone around me doubted my vision. everyone around me saw where I came from, saw the fact that, well, now I'm a single teen mom with no college degree, and everyone had assumptions about what would be possible for my life because of their biases and limitations and honestly, lack of vision. And one of the best things, and don't ask me where I found it, but look, I'm giving it to you here as a gift. One of the best things that I did was seriously just question everything that people told me, especially when those things were really trying to limit what I was trying to do, really trying to keep my dreams small, keep my goals small. Because at the end of the day, the thing that I realized is, well, those people have their thoughts, but I know that I have this desire for a different life. And why not me? Why can't I have that? They just don't know how to do it, but that doesn't mean that I can't figure out a way to do it and a way to do it that works for me. So the next really important principle that I had to take to heart and had to really master in order to change everything about my life was to understand money. That is a non-negotiable, because here's the thing. Life costs money. The transitions that you have to make between what you were doing before and what you want to do in the future, money is going to be a top consideration when you're thinking about, okay, how do I actually practically make this happen? How do I change careers? How do I move states and cities? How do I have more children? How do I get divorced and leave a relationship that isn't working for me anymore? Those are all financial decisions. How do I go back to school? How do I take a course or a training to teach me a new skill that will help me move into the career that I want? All money questions. And so being a single teen mom, making, less, like in 20-something thousand dollars a year, paying for childcare, working full time, and trying to figure out how I could make more money, I also had to figure out, how do I manage the money that I have really well? How do I use every single financial resource available to me and really make it stretch as far as I can so that I'm not just surviving, but I'm making progress towards really important financial goals and life goals. So for me, some of those life goals were, one, buying a house. Like I said, had a baby, didn't want to live in an apartment. I wanted to buy a house. And everyone told me, well, you're a 19-year-old single mom. You can't buy a house. You just can't do that. And luckily, I didn't believe them. And I just started looking into it. Well, how do you buy a house? And lo and behold, thank you, Google, there were lots of articles out there that helped me get a baseline understanding of how those types of financial transactions worked so that I could really start crunching the numbers to see, if I wanted to make this happen, what would I need to do? And so I was able to buy my first house by the time I was 20 years old, despite the fact that I was making less than $30,000 a year and was a single mom with no college degree. Just mind-blowing. It sounds mind-blowing, but it's actually truly just a numbers thing. So committing to learn about money, understand money, and take control of my finances made all the difference in what I was able to do, that I was able to work full time and pay for my college classes so I could take classes in the evenings. And then later on, I was able to figure out how to financially leave the Marine Corps, and so that I could start going to college full time so that I could get to my ultimate career and make more money in the long run. Knowing how to use your money to support yourself now, but also position yourself so that you can move towards your vision of your best life, that's essential. The next principle that I want to share with you is that it's important to invest in yourself, invest in your own personal growth, in your skills, because you are your best asset. You are your best investment because you have control over how you make money, how much money you make, how skilled you are, how you're able to handle whatever life throws at you. And so one of the best things that I've ever done is to invest in my own education. So started going to college, put myself through undergrad, ended up going to law school. And even though I'm not a practicing attorney anymore, despite the fact that, yes, I spent almost $200,000 becoming a lawyer, the lessons that I learned, the education that I received, the skills that I learned just going through that education, and also as a practicing attorney, developing my skills there, they continue to pay off in my daily life. So none of it is wasted. So not only am I constantly investing in courses and programs and seminars and coaching to become a better entrepreneur, a better writer, a better speaker, a better mom, a better partner, a better person, I always find the time to learn a little something every single day. So ask yourself, what are you learning today? How are you learning? And here's the thing, you're here right now, so you are a person already, I know, that's committed to self-growth and continual education and honing your skills, because that's why you're watching this video. So kudos to you on that, and don't ever stop, because building your skills and knowledge over time is one of the ways that you make sure that you are able to continue to rise to the occasion and create the next version of your life, versus staying in complacency and being stagnant and being comfortable. You're fully committed to growth. And that's going to help you transform your life over time. The next principle that I want to share is a little counterintuitive, but it is also essential to internalize, which is embracing risk and the potential for loss. Whenever you try something new, whenever you are working to grow, that means that you're doing something different than what you've been doing before. And with change, there is always some amount of risk or loss, because you're not doing the same things that you've been doing. But the thing is, the upside potential is so high that it's worth it. But oftentimes people will want the upside, right? The positives, they want the transformation, they want the extraordinary life, but they're so risk averse that they won't step off the ledge. And that is what is required to really change your life. When I think about the shifts that I had to make that felt really scary, and they don't stop feeling scary, just so you know, deciding to have a child at 19 years old. I was 18 when I decided that, well, yes, I'm going to have a baby. That's a big deal. That's a big shift. Also, leaving the Marine Corps, the only solid job I had ever known, to just decide like, hey, somehow I'm going to figure out this college thing, even though no one in my family had gone to college. I'm like, I'm going to figure this out. Somehow I'm going to get another job, and I'm going to do it without family support, because my family lived in a completely different state and we're from a different country. So there weren't many of us in the US anyway. That was a huge step. I had to do so much financial planning with my 1-year spending plan and thinking through all of the potential pitfalls, because, hey, I had a child to support. But that was the only way for me to make the kind of moves that I wanted to make. I didn't want to take classes part-time. I wanted to go full-time so that I could move on to my new career faster. So I had to let go of the safety net of the paycheck and the security of being an active duty Marine and jump into civilian life, adult life, with a child in tow, without a career, and just trust the plans that I had laid in place to work out. And I've had to do that over and over, and being faced with doing things that I never imagined that I would ever actually be doing and that I've never done before. I have not, but guess what? I'm gonna learn how to do it, and I'm gonna figure it out, and it's gonna be great. But guess what? They will be learning experiences that I can grow from. So that's how you have to think about failure and loss. There's no such thing as permanent failure. There's no such thing when we're talking about our life aspirations as permanent loss, unless you give up and stop. So if you're just committed to figuring this out and making the extraordinary life that you desire happen, no matter what, there's no such thing as failure. There's only lessons. I believed always, even without any evidence, that this life that I have right now was inevitable. It was gonna happen. It's just a matter of when, and a matter of how do I make it happen in a way that feels really good to me. And that commitment has helped me make decisions along the way that allowed me to not just look at everything I was doing as a means to an end, but really challenging the world. Like, hey, I don't just want this, but I want to make sure that I get it on my terms so that you can take them and use them to start creating the life that you want starting today. And like I said, these are the same principles that I continue to use in my life right now, that continue to drive me as I continue to move forward towards the new goals that I set for myself and my life.